We've got Chris on technical, Neil on insight, and Steve in the driving seat. It's Talking Formula One.
Hello and welcome to Talking Formula One with me, Steve, and Chris. How are you, Chris?
I'm all good. How are you?
Good. I'm very, very well after a very, very good race. Azerbaijan Grand Prix, of course, has been and gone. It certainly threw up some surprises, a lot of twists and turns, literally and figuratively. What were your thoughts on the race?
Everything happened on the Saturday, didn't it? In all honesty, by turn 4, Piastri's incident, I arguably could have fallen asleep during that race.
It wasn't the most entertaining of Grand Prix, but my heart was doing a million miles an hour for one man, obviously.
Max.
Yeah, absolutely. Super Max, yeah. No, not at all. Obviously, yeah, Max Verstappen. We'll certainly come to that one first. He made it 2 wins on the bounce, which was surprising considering Red Bull's form this year and how dominant McLaren have been. A very, very good pole position lap from Max Verstappen, and he held on to it through the race. He was obviously very fortunate that the 2 McLarens are quite far behind. Ferrari went off a cliff, and Mercedes weren't really anywhere, nowhere close anyway. So a lot of people have been, throwing around the idea now with Max having 2 wins on the bounce and McLaren going through a sort of mini implosion. Is he actually back in this title fight now? Is it realistic to say?
Oh, well, realistically, yes, but it's going to take some miracles, I think. Obviously, Singapore is Max's worst track on the calendar. He never finished higher than 5th. Red Bull never even on their dominant 23 car is in a race they didn't win. If they come out with that, if he wins that race, then I wouldn't put it past him winning all of them. But I can't see it. The McLaren was a bit. Well, Oscar just decided he just wanted to crash all weekend. Lando did what, unfortunately, we all kind of secretly think or isn't really up to task. Well, this is my opinion. He's not up to task when the moments come, and Piastri pinning it was his moment. And the only person who stood up and counted was Max Verstappen, as always. Got the lap in that he needed to put in.
He's there, isn't he? I mean, watching it, we had it on at work on Saturday, and I was busy, and then I came to look at the TV that was on, and I saw that it was like the top 3 of Carlos and the 2 RBs. Like, what the hell? I think he could keep this. Carlos could genuinely keep this pole position. First pole it would have been since Felipe Massa in 2014. Not to be, but a great lap from Max. And Oscar Piastri. Just what a shocker for someone who is always so ice cool and just doesn't put a foot wrong, apart from Australia this year. Doesn't put a foot wrong, and to have 2 big.
But even Australia was him and Lando went off at the same point. It's just he got the worst of it. This was the first weekend that Oscar has had a shocker really all weekend. He wasn't on the pace at all. Even Friday wasn't on the pace. Saturday morning wasn't on the pace. He was just nowhere. Looked like he was trying too hard in qualifying and the race. But going back to Max, I think Max's win was gifted by the grid. If I'm honest, all he had to do was turn 1, lead it, and he knew because he had 2 cars behind him who were going to keep Mercedes back for a couple of laps at least, where he could build the gap and then manage the race. And that was kind of where his race was won. Also, the inherent issue that we have in these last few races that no one can bloody overtake. Yeah. In what world? If you look at Friday's form, and you said Williams and RB are going to be 2nd and 3rd, and McLaren's going to be 7th or 8th, wherever Lando was. You think, well, they should come through the pack. Unfortunately, you have to be easily a second quicker than the other car to get anywhere in this at the minute. Yeah. The deltas are the top, whether it's tyre delta or performance delta, are too close, and that's what made it a boring race. We've been asked, people have been asking, let's do mix-up grids and all this. Well, there's your mix-up grid, and look what we got. Not a lot.
I was in two minds through the entire race because I love an absolutely chaotic Grand Prix. I love safety cars and I love drama and strategy offsets and all that sort of thing.
Mhm.
But as a Williams fan, I wanted the most boring Grand Prix possible. I wanted a procession from start to finish. No one can overtake. Carlos second, boom.
Yeah, and
I was in the pit stops, but we were
the
more or less there.
Mercedes was the quickest car behind the Red Bull in terms of the race there, and eventually that showed out just purely by the little undercut. Was it undercut that Russell did on Sainz? I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But you look at the Ferrari. Hamilton was I'd say probably second or third favourite for pole Friday afternoon, Saturday morning. Ferraris, and then obviously Charles binned it, but the Ferraris didn't go anywhere because you can't get close enough. You can't overtake.
No,
I think Lewis had DRS on Tsunoda for about 10 laps. Didn't even get close enough. Down a 2 kilometre straight, didn't even get close enough.
No, it's the Ferrari pace just went off a cliff, didn't it? They were looking very, very good on Friday. Was it a 1-2? I think was it Hamilton and Leclerc on FP2?
Well,
and FP2 historically has been the more
They were on the wrong tyre for Lewis, weren't they? They just balls that up as they always do. And then obviously Charles binned it. And then in the race, they were nowhere. There was nowhere. And McLaren was nowhere. George Russell was the only one with a bit of pace, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Made life easy for Sainz, who could just, hit his lap times. Because he wasn't interested. Sainz wasn't interested in Max at all.
No, there was going to be no chance he was going to get Max.
It was all about finishing second or third for Williams.
Yeah.
And that's what they kind of did. They managed the tyres to what they needed to. I mean, Lawson. How did Lawson manage to keep behind on 20-odd lap tyres to, what's his face, to obviously Lando and Tsunoda?
Yeah, it was very, very impressive. But this coming race in Singapore is going to be the sort of the crucial one, isn't it? If Max can absolutely nail it in Singapore, then 100% he's in this title fight. But I just have a really strong feeling that McLaren they've done a brawn, basically. Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris have got enough points to get themselves so far ahead that they can afford to have a few, not necessarily a few slip-ups, but they can afford to have a few quieter races, and they can afford to lose a few points here and there because, it got to a certain point in 2009. Button had won so many, like 6 out of the first 7. And he was so far ahead that even when the likes of Red Bull caught up with upgrades and the brawn slipped behind, all he had to do was damage limitation. I know it was an old point system, so there's more points at play now. But all he had to do was keep himself thereabouts, and they couldn't get him. And I get the feeling that's going to be a bit like it. Even if Max can get a couple more wins this season, that the McLarens will be second, third, fourth, and it will be damage limitation.
Yeah, that McLaren's still the quicker car. It was obviously, on Friday it was the second quickest car in the 2 sessions, so they haven't lost pace. It's just Lando doesn't seem to put a lap together when it really matters, and Oscar obviously binned it. So that kind of skews the result for Max because it was such a weird Saturday that it skewed the grid. And then so it always Singapore, Red Bull's absolute donkey of a track. Doesn't matter what iteration of car they've had here, they've always been bad. So if they come and turn up and even finish on the podium, I think it's probably a good result for that car.
Well, considering how the dominant 2023 car didn't even get a podium there.
But
that was Carlos Sainz, but a smooth operator.
Drag Lando down for the team there, yeah.
Very clever racing. Watching Saturday, I didn't know where to look. It was crazy because it was 6 red flags.
I didn't watch Saturday. I was stuck in traffic in Birmingham, so Saturday. I watched the Channel 4 highlights, which aren't really my cup of tea. But not because it's Channel 4, but it's because I don't like highlights. Because I like to see all of it and then choose what I want to see, not what they want me to see.
Yeah.
But
Saturday was fantastic. 6 red flags. The one red flag that made me chuckle was they had a red flag for what looked like Pierre Gasly just going into the runoff area. I thought that's not a red flag. He can just spin around and carry on his way, as lots had already done. And then the camera got to Colapinto just bidding it in the wall. Oh, there's the red flag. That's why.
Yeah, I saw that. The Hulkenberg red flag was a bit premature, wasn't it? I know, because obviously he went in and he did lose his front wing, but that could have been a yellow flag.
It could have been yellow. He kept the car going, didn't he? He got on his way.
He can't come out of it. He carried on, but it was another one. Wasn't it? No, it was a different race. I was watching another race, but I wish I watched all the qualifying and the race, really. So
the quality was the exciting part, particularly when they had Carlos in P1. I think Lawson had P2, P3, whichever way around those two were. And then, there's another red flag. Piastri's in the wall. Oh my god, it's incredible, because you've got Lewis Hamilton out in Q2. Charles Leclerc's binned it. Piastri goes and binned it. You think, well, this is it. This is Lando's to lose. Surely he can't bottle again. His main title rival is out. Charles Leclerc, who has been very good around Baku. He's got the last 4 pole positions out as well.
Yeah.
The other Ferrari, who looks very, very quick, also out. So 3 of the big players are out here. All he's got to do is get a good lap together, and he had a good lap, and then he hit the wall on his final run, and it just scrubbed everything off that he'd built up. Ruined it again, and again couldn't even get forward in the race either. The lack of overtaking.
But that's the issue there. You're pushing for pole there, but you kind of sit there and think to yourself, okay, well, Oscar's out. I just need to be on the front 2 rows here.
Yeah.
And with the car I've got, then I've got a good opportunity to get a win or a second. Instead, he went that little bit too far, got himself in trouble, and then ended up nowhere in the race and in qualifying. And it was this fun. The thing was like Piastri was a strange one because he crashed the same way twice. I know it was different, but it was exactly the same way where he just snatched the front right and just went straight into the wall. Yeah. Like the one in the race was very strange because that come from a long way off where he was heading for the scene of the accident a long way into that braking zone. And
I love that Martin Brundle saying heading straight for the scene of the accident.
Yeah, but it's like
one of my favourites.
It was like you watched it on board. And you're like, "There's a corner here, Oscar. Yeah, there's a corner here." He goes past the back marker in the Alpine or wherever it was. Well, we haven't talked about it. He false started for a start. Yeah.
And he called Fernando out as well. Fernando went, "Oh shit, I was copying Piastri. Sorry."
So we missed the actual. It's all started from the lights when he went too early. Yeah. And that was probably what put him on the back foot. He knew that he'd have a penalty, so maybe he was trying to make up too many positions too quickly.
Yeah, was that a little bit of impatience? I know that obviously he's now way down the back of the grid, but he's in a McLaren still, class of the field. Pick your moments. You will clear these cars.
Ironically, for him, like being in clean at the back in clean air might have been actually a help because there was very little degradation again on the tyres, and all that McLaren his pure pace is all in clean air. The clean air is rapid, and actually it might have helped him if he had to sort of maybe pit a little bit earlier, stick on some boots, and run 25 seconds behind the pack, and just pump in lap times and then catch up.
Yeah.
Possibly. I don't know. We don't really know. He forgot that he had to turn left at one point. So.
Yeah. But it shows how quickly things can change in the title fight because, when Lando retired in Zandvoort, everyone said, well, that's it. He's lost 25, and obviously, back in Canada as well, he's lost so many points to Oscar. And now suddenly it's Oscar with the DNF, 0 points, and Lando's got a great opportunity to take it.
Lando's lost 40 points to Oscar through his DNFs. Mm-hmm. And Oscar's lost 8 or 9 to Lando in his one.
Yeah.
I mean, when it comes to the end of the year, that will probably be the telling issue at the minute.
I really want to see this go down to the wire, and I think it will, but I can't. I'm struggling to see a way back in this now for Lando.
He needs another DNF for Piastri. He has to win a race with Piastri, either DNF in or low down to get himself back into it because he can't. He can try and do 1-2s every week, but
And the thing to watch out for, Max, he's still there. Like this weekend, McLaren absolutely imploded.
Yes, that's the big thing, isn't it? there's three race winners at the minute, not the two. So and Max gets his Sunday result on the Saturday.
Yeah.
By his amazing qualifying. He puts that car in where it's nowhere near it's supposed to be or expected to be, and then he manages the race from there. It's very rare that Max goes back at a rapid pace.
Yeah. He is driving the wheels off that car, and he absolutely deserves the race wins.
And the thing with Max is, if you've got him alongside you at the start of a race, you know you've got to be cautious with him because he's going to go banzai. And it doesn't really care if he's out of the race or not because he's very much in the mindset he has to win every race to even stand a chance of winning. So he's going to go for every opportunity. He's going to go for it. And if it doesn't work, it don't work.
Yeah, this is Max with nothing to lose. In a way, is more dangerous than a Max with a title to lose.
Yeah.
Because sorry, I'll get a win if I DNF. I'm not going to win the title anyway. You know. But it was we're making the best out of what was really a boring race here. But have I not said since the start of the season that there will be a Williams podium? I stood on that hill. I was prepared to die there.
I think you did say it, if I'm honest. Yeah.
I had a feeling this year that Williams, Albon, and Carlos, one of them would get a podium. Not the one I thought would get a podium, to be honest.
James Vowell said that Monza in here was going to be their best performances, and he doesn't expect a lot from after then. I think maybe Kota might be because of the nature of the track, but
it's back down to earth with a bump because you're going from a very, very good circuit in Baku, and then it's like, what's next? Oh crap, it's Singapore. Okay, Williams don't go well there. But yeah, not the driver I would have expected to get the podium, in all honesty, with how well that Albon's been driving. And
start of the season, you probably would have done, but just how the season's gone on, he's been. But you'd say the last 2-3 races, Carlos has started to show up again.
I mean, Monza was a great fight back. And the drive on Sunday was just brilliant. Had the car where he needed it. He wasn't flustered. Knew what he was doing. Held off Kimi Antonelli at the end. I know he had fresher tyres. But yeah, brilliant. When he popped up in second, for the Grand Prix, I thought, this is amazing. But I wasn't overly confident because he's only scored 16 points all year.
Hulkenberg 2008 or whenever it was when he went backwards quicker than a receding tide.
2010. Williams on pole and then just back you go. And I thought that was going to be the case. Second place now, but end of the first lap, second lap, he maybe 6th, 7th. No, absolutely not. He said, absolutely not, my friend. That's fine.
I'm interested about 2010, actually.
What's that?
2010, that every championship leader in 2010 never won a race while they were leading the championship.
Is that right?
Apparently.
Wow. Seb didn't lead it all year, did he? Till he won it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So,
Mark, if you hadn't have crashed in Korea, God, and if Fernando hadn't been held up behind bloody Vitaly Petrov, he could have been a 3-time champion.
I think that's the only thing Petrov's going to be ever remembered for, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, that, and there was that incident when he went off the circuit and the car jumped and he came back on and his steering wheel fell off in his hands and he just had like a steering wheel flopping around.
Yeah.
And he's still trying to turn. Mate, that doesn't work. I've seen so many memes of people putting the Xbox controller disconnected thing over that when the steering wheel comes off. It was. I was getting a little bit emotional towards the end there because it's the first podium since 2021, but their first one since a proper race since 2017 because 2021 was the Belgian Grand Prix that never was.
Georgie Russell, he definitely would have won that race, wouldn't he?
Oh, for sure. He stuck it in second in quali, but he'd have kept that. I'm sure of it. But
half points. It was a half points that right?
It was, yeah. But Carlos and the emotion at the end of it as well, when he just absolutely barreled it down to go and jump into the arms of his engineers. I've been liking and favoriting so many videos the past few days about that because it's genuinely brilliant. Not even as a Williams fan, it's genuinely brilliant to see.
Have you seen the videos of Russell going over to his team, and they're all like, "Oh, yeah, well done, yeah, oh, yeah."
Contrast it with the next few people. It's a Williams losing their absolute mind.
Yeah, like, no one really cared for him.
No, everyone. Yeah, people. Max won a race. Okay, great. We've seen him win loads of them before. Russell's on the podium. Yeah, all right, fine. We expected it. Sainz, third in a Williams. Fantastic. So we've had an RB, a Sauber, and a Williams on the podium. 3 midfield cars on the podium, which feels much more like old school Formula One, where you used to get, a shock result of like a Sauber or a BAR pop up on the podium. It felt like it was old school, like noughties F1 vibes.
Noughties F1 vibes. Oh, those are the days.
They were.
Watched the V10 engine actually earlier today. Williams going up Eau Rouge. Beautiful.
V10 engine or V8 engines, fully synthetic fuels, much better. Make it happen. I'm sure the FIA are listening. But what surprises me, absolutely, come on. But what surprises me is that so far this season we have seen Hülkenberg finally get his first podium, Hadjar get a debut podium, Carlos Sainz get his first podium for Williams before Lewis Hamilton gets a podium for Ferrari. Now that, if you'd have told me before the season that's how it would be, wouldn't have believed you at all.
No, never. Well, you think about the Ferrari, Hamilton winning the sprint race. You thought this could be a decent season for him. And obviously, then only won the sprint race really because of the issues of the car that they then found out after the sprint race that if they carried on another couple more laps, he would have been disqualified. But it was in part firm. They couldn't do anything.
No, and then disqualification in China for the Grand Prix, and then it's all really downhill for him. Charles Leclerc's got a pole this year, isn't he? I think.
Yeah, he has definitely.
And then, he's obviously got a good few podium finishes this season. I'm going to have to check that now. F1. Bloody hell, the F1 game is still 60 quid.
What, the new one or the old one?
The new one.
Fucking hell.
I'm buying that.
Well, the eldest paid £100 bloody FIFA last week.
Oh, bloody hell.
Bizarre. I know. I remember 30 quid, mate. 30 quid.
30 quid back in the Game Station. I've got a PS2 game up there on my old school gaming shelf with the Game Station sticker on it. Driver 3, $7.99. Anyway, Charles Leclerc, pole position, Hungary. So he got pole in Hungary, and he's had a good few podiums. Lewis Hamilton hasn't finished any higher than 4th in 1, 2, 3 races. He's been at the points in all but 3, but he's just...
I think this weekend's been a good one for Lewis, though. I think the one just gone past. I was reading that part of his issues is I was listening to Karen Chandok, actually. He was always very interesting, actually. He's a proper geek. Anyway, he was saying about it was about the brakes for Lewis. He's obviously spent his whole, single-seater career under Mercedes, which used, I can't remember the brand name, brakes. And obviously Ferrari used Brembo, which is a completely different material they use, different feel, and it's taken them this long to get anywhere near to what he... And obviously, Lewis's biggest strength is braking, and always has been braking. Yeah. So confidence under the brakes for him is everything. And I think they've only just now started to get the brakes sorted for him, how he likes it. And I think actually this weekend was the first time since China that he was better than Charles Leclerc all weekend. Even in the race, he was better than Charlie.
Well, Charles let him through, didn't he? Or he was told to let Lewis through. Lewis apparently was told to give the place back at the end, but he didn't. I think
they told him like halfway down the straight or something. It was too late. But I mean, the thing is, Lewis is that he was 6/10 behind Tsunoda. So Tsunoda went for an overtake with Lawson and they collided or something. Lewis, could have got an extra place. So realistically, you don't really want to be given the place back, do you? I know, and he was right in the end of it. He said, "Well, it's only 7th and 8th, isn't it? Really, I'm not really that bothered."
Yeah, it was a solid but unspectacular race for him. Disappointing though, considering the pace they had on Friday.
That was a team error that got him out in Q2, and the wrong tyre, the wrong times. It's just what Ferrari do in the last since 2010. I reckon that's probably where it all happened. They followed Webber and rather than running their own race, cost Fernando a 3rd world title. And ever since then, I've just made mistake after mistake after mistake operationally on the track.
it's so frustrating, isn't it? Because I really want to see, particularly Charles Leclerc. I really want to see Charles Leclerc do well with Ferrari and have success with Ferrari. Obviously, with McLaren as dominant as they are, but that's the frustrating thing. Like, you've had these years where Mercedes were the dominant car and Ferrari were second, and now it's all changed. So then you had Red Bull, the dominant car, Ferrari still second, and now you've got McLaren, the dominant car, Ferrari.
You think about the 22. I think the turning point in 22 was when Charles binned it in France from the lead when he had that. He spun, didn't he?
Yeah.
And up to that point in 22, that Ferrari was quicker than Red Bull. It was the quickest car on the track on the grid at that point.
Yeah.
And that's probably the last time they had the quickest car on the grid. Like, everybody else has developed a car and they've stayed still.
And it doesn't help the fact that the car just suddenly decides to eat its own engine at most races. It was Austria where Carlos Sainz has caught fire in spectacular fashion. The
engine's been the only decent thing this season.
Yeah. Look back at Charles Leclerc's 2022. So many pole positions, 1, 2, 3 wins, and he had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 poles. The only pole he's converted in 18 is Monaco. I think there was a stat that he's got more poles than Fernando Alonso.
He has.
2 titles, and also Max Verstappen has won more races from Charles Leclerc pole positions than Charles Leclerc has, which is awful. So at that point, Max Verstappen won that race and Charles Leclerc DNF'd it. So Max Verstappen then had 233 and Charles had 170. Awful stuff there. I'm trying to look back at Austria, which is the race before that. Yeah, he was closer. But it's Ferrari is so frustrating. I mean, I've known people who are not diehard Ferrari fans, but very, very big Ferrari fans. And it's just it's so frustrating for them. I mean, I feel their pain. I'm a Williams fan. We've not won a race since 2012, for God's sake. No championship since '97. But the last world champion, Jacques Villeneuve, the last race winner, Pastor Maldonado.
Are we world champion next season? But don't you worry.
No, we're going to be back. But the trouble is, right, if Fernando Alonso suddenly found himself in a world championship position, and so did Williams, I genuinely don't know. I love Fernando and I want to see Fernando win, but I'm going to have to go with Williams at my team.
I was talking about a rumour that the rumour of the weekend was Antonelli and Sainz swap for the season.
No. Keep Sainz, please. He's actually now starting to do well.
If that does happen to me, that says to me that Mercedes think they've got a very good car, an engine package, and I don't believe that Williams have.
I want to believe they do.
I think Williams. The rumours are that Mercedes' engine is above everything else, so they're going to. So all you need to do is make sure that the chassis package is up to par, and you'll be at the top end of the grid.
Wouldn't that just be Pete Fernando Alonso though? Like, he's at Aston Martin. They've now got Adrian Newey for next year, who can design an absolute beast of a car, and they need a cracking engine. And they've got Mercedes, but next year, when Mercedes are going to have the class of the field, supposedly, they've got Honda, who might drop the ball. Well, I doubt it, but it's going to be like Mercedes have suddenly got the best engine, and they've just left.
I've said it before. Honda take their time when they build when they come to new engine specs. They get it right eventually. Yeah. But it takes some time. I mean, Red Bull used McLaren as the cart horse to develop the last engine, and then took it when it started working well.
Yeah, I can see it now. But who knows? I mean, Audi could absolutely turn up and blitz us all. You never know. Or
the Pirelli, I had a Pirelli guy who was interesting when he was saying from their tyre simulations on the simulator for next year, there's a 20% difference between the one team, the top team to the bottom team, which is pretty drastic. You'd assume that the bottom team will be Cadillac and Audi, wouldn't you? Really, but And Alpine, obviously.
And Alpine, obviously. No matter what they do, they're always going to be shite. Sorry, Alpine fans. If all three of you are listening, I'm sorry.
Stick a fucking rocket in that thing, it still won't go anywhere.
They have look, we've brought Max Verstappen to Alpine. Oh, he's qualified last. Ow! The car is just that bad. Oh, there we go. They bring out red flags. That's what they do.
That's what we do.
So sorry for Gasly because he's such a good driver and he's
I said before, he's unfortunately pigeonholed. I think the only thing he can get away, he can probably get out of that really is if a mid-season something happened and they needed to move around quickly and get a decent driver in.
Yeah. Well, there we go. But that brings us to the end of our little show this week. So we're back next week, of course, looking ahead to the Singapore Grand Prix, which is one I absolutely love. I'm so conflicted as well, though, because the 5th of October is Singapore Grand Prix Day. It's also Derby Day. Ipswich Town versus Norwich City. So one of them's going to be on the big TV. One of them's going to be on the iPad. I just don't know which way around.
I think they kick off and they start at roughly the same time because...
kick off at 12 and I think lights out at 1.
Let's have a look, shall we? I've got it on here somewhere. Here we go. Where are we? Oh, that's not on there anymore. What was schedule? That's what we want. I've got it in my calendar.
I'm sorry. Metal James, evening, welcome in. Just like Massa is still hell-bent on pursuing his world title bid. Court date October 28th. Felipe, I love you. I always have, but just give it a rest, man.
There you go. So qualifying's at 2:00 on a Saturday, but they put the races on at 1:00. Oh, so we'll get the first half in. I think I'll do the same. To be fair, I'll have 2 TVs.
Yeah, I've got the iPad on the go, so I'll have the big TV. Yeah, one of them's going to be on the big TV, and one of them is going to be on the iPad. Do I watch Singapore Grand Prix, one of my favourite races, on the big TV, or try and see my team beat their rivals for the first time since 2009 on the big TV? I don't know. But we shall see. Well, yeah,
it'll be a Nunes red card, or Nunes will get injured because they'll
Nunes goal, 85th minute goal, Nunes boom. Metal Jason, I don't know why Massa is still pursuing this title. It's not going to happen. You also have to then look at the likes of 2021 again, and dear, it's just,
but then this is the thing, like so. He's held on and getting the result changed, but this result for Brazil he wants changed, isn't it?
Is it?
I think. Well, I can only presume because that's what lost him the title, wasn't it? Because. But then, if you change,
because there was some. I thought it was something to do with earlier in the season. I know he had an issue with the fuel hose, didn't he? Because they got stuck on his car. I can't remember what race it was, but it got stuck on his car.
If you're going to start retrospecting things like that, you might as well just go over the whole every penalty in the whole season and just go, no, they don't count. No, they don't count.
I'll tell you what, why don't you go back to 1950 and then just start retrospectively doing it that way?
How can you just say, oh, no, because... just let it go.
We've gone through it all, and it turns out that Fangio's only won 1 title and Sterling Moss now has 3. Just because. There we go, solid. No, I was always a massive fan back in the day, but he's just being stupid with this one now. It's never going to happen.
Jenson Button is no longer world champion because his team went out, wasn't supposed to be on the grid.
Yeah.
Only because Ross Brawn bought it for £1. He's on the grid. No, not having it. Scrap his world champion. Scrap it.
Imagine that. Right, 2010 is going to be redone. We don't think it's very fair that Fernando got caught behind Vitaly Petrov, so we're going to run the whole race again. Get back in your old cars. Let's go. Well, there we go. Thanks very much for tuning in. We shall see you next week to look ahead to Singapore. So have a great week. Hope you enjoy. Take care. We shall see you then. I've been Steve. He has been Chris. Next week we might have Neil.
No one knows where he is.
No one knows. Even Neil doesn't know where he is. He's out in the ether somewhere, just floating.
Last seen in Cyprus. So if you get offered, ever you go on holiday to Cyprus and you get offered an Englishman, it might be him.
It could be Neil. So just bring it back for us, would you? We need his insight as well. Thanks very much for watching. Cheers. We'll see you next week. Cheerio.